So these are the armies that we'll be playing today. First up is Justin's Space Wolf army. What have you got here, Justin?
Alright, 2,000 points worth of Space Wolves using the Wolves Unleashed detachment, because I don't like change. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Lone Wolves in the detachment, not counting towards the CAD, and they are Wissywig, armed exactly, including Ingvar here, the Great and Glorious. And then for the rest of the detachment, I have my...
What do these dice mean that you put on them?
These dice means that they successfully rolled to outflank.
Okay, so these
so I can choose to outflank. These two, this squad back here, who have a drop pod, and then this squad here.
Okay,
Alright.
So the rest of your army, let's go through it.
Alright, so starting with the Warlord, he's over here. He's a Wolf Lord with the Helm of Durfast, Artificer Armor, and a Frost Axe. And he's in a squad of Wolfguard Terminators, who are Wissywig, 2 with Claws, the rest with Thunderhammer's Lightning Claws. Our troops are made up of 4 Grey Hunter squads. 2 with Plasmas, 1 with Flamer, 1 with Melter. And then we have a Bloodclaw squad with Lucas the Trickster leading it, nothing else on them. And then in our elites, we have this Wolfguard squad. We have this Venerable Dreadnought with a Hellfrost. Ignore that, he has a Hellfrost. And then we have this Wolfguard squad here with Combi Melters loaded inside this drop pod. It's just stock standard drop pod. And then we have 2 squadrons of Lone Wolves. Long Fangs. 4 with rocket launchers, and then in this squad, 2 with heavy bolters and 2 with plasma cannons. Apologies for not having them painted. Some of us have other things going on. And that is my 2,000 points of Space Wolves. So for 2,000 points on the Sisters of Battle side, take us through what you got.
Alright, so what we've got here is a standard Sister of Battle CAD with an allied Imperial Knight. In our HQ slot, we have Saint Celestine and 1 priest with a power mace. For our troop choices, we have 3 squads of Sisters of Battle. Each one has a heavy flamer, a flamer, and regular superior with combi plasma, all mounted in immolators with dozer blades. For fast attack choices, we have first the Seraphim here with 2 hand flamers and a veteran superior. And then we have 2 Dominion squads, one mounted in a repressor and the other one in an immolator with multi-melters. And each Dominion has a number of melter guns. One of them has a flamer as well, and the superiors have multi-melters. Then for heavy support, we have 2 Exorcists with Stormbolters and 1 Avenger Strike Fighter with Hell Fury missiles. And then in the Lord of War slot, we have the Knights detachment with an Imperial Knight Warden with Melter Cannon thing and Avenger Gatling Cannon and attached missile launchers.
Alright, and this is the battlefield we're playing on today, and we've all deployed up. The Sisters of Battle have deployed on this side of the field, pretty much focusing all their stuff around the Knight down the center here. While on the meantime, the Space Wolves have deployed over on this side with some flanking forces here, some long flanks there, a little bit of firepower there, a little bit of scattered bits of infantry. Meanwhile, most of the Terminators have decided to stay back in reserves, waiting their time to strike in turn 3, because they can't assault the moment they arrive.
Okay, so the Space Wolf player has advanced everyone forward, barring the Devastator squads, long things.
Yep.
For a massive forward movement. This drop pod dropped in right here next to these guys, and these combi melter vets got out behind the Imperial Knight, no doubt intending to strike at its vulnerable rear armor.
Yeah.
Then we went to psychic phase, but no psychic powers were in range or useful. So now we move on to Space Wolf shooting phase. So the long fangs with the rocket launchers had a shoot at the knight and managed to remove a hull point. The vulnerable dreadnought also had a shot but failed to penetrate. Okay. So the Devastator squad here split fire. The heavy bolter took a shot at this and managed to do one glancing. The plasmas shot at the knight and did nothing. They failed to penetrate. And then these combi melters here all opened fire, resulting in 2 penetrating hits, both of which the shield failed to save, and one of which resulted in an explosion which did an extra 2 hull points, leaving the Knight Titan on 1 hull point remaining. Okay, the Space Wolf player's shooting phase was finished off with this unit running and this unit running. So now it is the assault phase, but no assaults are possible at this time, so we will move on to Sisters of Battle, turn 1. And looking at objectives, the Space Wolf players scored Secure 5 and Secure 3, while the other 4 were not accomplished. Are you going to discard one?
I'm going to discard Secure Objective 6.
Okay. So now we move on to the Sisters of Battle player, turn 1. These are the objectives that I drew. Secure 1, Secure 2, Secure 3, Secure 3, Ascendancy, and no prisoners. Not all of these will be possible for me to do this turn, but we'll see how I go.
Alright, so the Sisters of Battle have advanced and the Seraphim have joined Saint Celestine. This is repositioned. Looks like it's rotated. Has it moved back?
It's a little bit, it's repositioned itself slightly.
So it counts as that move. Yeah. This guy moved a little bit. These sisters piled out to have a go at the Wolf Guard. This Immolator advanced, and the Repressor moved forward, and the Dominions with melter guns piled out. So it looks like the sisters are moving to fight us head on, which is nice. So we're moving into Sisters shooting phase. Alright, so these weren't in range. The Exorcist took some pot shots and managed to kill one of the Blood Claws. This Exorcist, along with the combined fire of these 3 units, managed to score first blood by eliminating those Wolf Guard who'd already fired their combis. This Knight, in combination with the Repressor, managed to destroy Lone Wolf Squad number 1. They failed to kill those Lone Wolves back in the corner and didn't do anything to that. These guys used their faith power to ignore cover and managed to kill 3 of that squad. And that was largely it for the Sisters of Battle shooting. A lot, but at the same time, not a lot.
Did wipe out 2 units.
Did wipe out 2 units, getting you first blood and one of your objectives, which we'll now cover. So the Sisters declared an assault. They got no overwatches, dealt no wounds, and the Sisters didn't end up killing anything, but in the end, thanks to Zealot, that priest just smashed, thanks to war hymns,
Yes, he's
the remaining 2 Space Marines. So
he smashed with his now Strength 5 AP2.
So that's it for Sisters Assault.
Okay, so we drew 2 new objectives, and the Space Wolf player now has to try and secure 6 and 4, in addition
to Blood and Guts, Assassinate,
and Big Game Hunter. We rolled for reserves. He selected 1 unit to come on automatically.
Through the Wolves Unleashed outflanking,
Yep.
so it was this
That was this
Lone
guy
Wolf.
here, and he re-rolled his outflank to get on this side. And then we had another Lone Wolf come on
Ingvar,
with
Ingvar
him.
Smashface.
And then we had this guy drop here.
This guy scattered to
dropped
here, quite funnily.
And then we had one other guy who scattered and mishapped, but he just got delayed instead of destroyed or replaced. So that leaves only this guy and this squad to still come on.
Yeah. So, shooting phase. This squad took a pot shot over at Celestine Seraphims, did nothing. This managed to score a pen, but the invul save saved it.
Yep, the shield saved it.
These guys, combined with Enfeeble from that squad over there, managed to get them down to 2 or 3. This squad failed to do anything against the knight.
Failed all the pen rolls.
And they ran.
They ran forward, but weren't quite close enough to get objective 6, which you needed.
Yeah. So, assault phase now. So these Space Wolves here assaulted the sisters that were here, murdered them all, and then consolidated back to there. And that was the end of the Space Wolves assault phase, because nothing else could assault, because everything else either shot or just arrived. And for objectives, I ended up getting Blood and Guts and Assassinate, but I did not get the D3 for either of those. So it puts me just 1 above, because I failed to get Big Game Hunter, unfortunately. So Sisters of Battle got behind enemy lines as their only objective that they drew this turn. And now they're bringing on the Fighter, as it was the only thing that passed as reserves roll. Alright, so the Sisters advanced up here. The Knight moved a little bit. The Exorcist repositioned.
Actually, they just rotated this time.
Yeah. Sisters back there next to drop-off repositioned. The Fighter came on. The Repressor moved between here. And then the Sisters over here and this Immolator popped out as it moved to counter these guys. I think the Space Marine's about to get the shit blown out of them. Alright, so these Sisters all over here unloaded completely into this Space Wolf squad, only killing about 4 of them. This Exorcist only did 1 wound and didn't insta-give him, thanks to the Lone Wolf Eternal Warrior. Same with this one. This guy took 1 wound after a lot of past saves from that thing's Gatling cannon. The Dreadnought took 2 penetrating hits, and it's now stunned and shaken. This flat-outed. The Flyer succeeded in destroying all but 2, thanks to 2 miracle 6-up saves of those. And these Sisters here completely annihilated the squad of Grey Hunters.
Except for 1.
Except for the independent character Psycho, who was attached.
Oh, that's the Psycho.
That's the Psycho. So now it is the Sisters Assault phase. I'm going to assume these guys are assaulting.
Might as well attempt it.
Alright. So, assault phase for the Sisters. Celestine and Seraphims have attempted to attack and failed their charge, and Overwatch returned exactly 1 crack grenade that did nothing, because it was saved by Celestine's armor. So,
Objective resolving time.
objective results.
So this squad with Lucas looks like they're going after the Battle Sister squad rather than St. Celestine. And then these guys made their way up to the top parapet at last, where they have a pretty good line of sight around the field. This guy advanced towards the Knight, this guy advanced towards the Exorcist. These two look like they're splitting up, so this guy can get behind the Knight, this guy's probably going to go for the Exorcist. These guys came on for reserve.
Yep, to do their nasty business.
And then
this squad repositioned itself to get at the sidearm of the Repressor.
that's this squad here.
The Rune Priest fell back.
And the Rune Priest fell
and the Longfangs are still.
And this guy came on here in this bush. Alright, now it's time for a shooting phase. So the Rune Priest generated a large number of psychic points. He first tried to put 2 onto Enfeeble, but failed to manifest. He then put 2 into Smite, succeeded, and killed 2. He then put his remaining 2 into Hemorrhage, which he succeeded, but then the Sisters of Battle denied the power of the Witch.
Thanks to Adamantium Will.
Now, on to shooting phase. The Dreadnought fired its snapshot at the Imperial Knight, but missed. And then the 2 remaining rocket launchers fired at the Imperial Knight, and 1 hit, but failed to penetrate. So this guy fired a Stormbolter and killed one of those sisters. Meanwhile, on the other side of the board, this squad fired on these Sisters of Battle. The Plasma managed to kill one. And then this squad unloaded into the Seraphim and Celestine, and sadly Celestine failed her invul save to get instantly killed because she doesn't have Eternal Warrior. And now it is time for Space Wolves Assault phase. So this unit made it in, the Overwatch failed to do any wounds, and then this guy failed his charge distance against the Knight. This guy however succeeded, and so did this guy, and this guy. So over here, Lucas the Trickster completely demolished the Battle Sisters all by his lonesome. Over here, this guy got unlucky and only got one penetrating hit, but the vehicle did manage to make its only 6-up invul save to be completely undamaged. This vehicle was not as lucky. It suffered 2 hull points and lost its missile launchers. Over here, however, the lone guy got squished since he went last and the Knight got to go before him and step on him. So now it is time for objectives, and
I scored none.
did not get 5, 6, 6.
Oh, I got 5.
Big game. Oh, you got 5?
Yeah.
Alright, so held 5. Okay, so now it is time for turn 3 of the Sisters of Battle.
There's something I forgot to do over here. Sisters repositioned here to get the Seraphim behind. Immolator repositioned. Knights repositioned to blow the shit out of a Terminator blob. So these guys.
Well, these Dominions outflanked on this turn. So.
Yep. Finally arrived. Celestine revived and is going after the Grey Hunters that killed her. These guys are left holding there after the Exorcists moved on. This one tried to ram and failed.
Did nothing.
Sisters re-embarked on that. This flat out. Fighter moved there. Basically, everything has moved away from this edge of the board onto this edge of the board, which has become a giant cluster.
Well, it kind of has. Didn't even really pay attention.
Now, shooting phase. So, the Sisters of Battle pummeled the squad up here. Celestine finished it off before retreating to down here. Lucas and his squad fled
after being shot up by the Seraphim.
The combined fire of all of these sisters managed to kill two Terminators. That did nothing.
No, this killed the Terminator that was there.
Oh yes, it killed that one lone wolf. And this flat out. And...
oh, it didn't actually. It meant to flat out.
Alright, well, that's the end of the Sisters' turn. Sisters on points are winning by a crap ton.
2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10 points.
10 points to my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5. And you've got to draw...
one more objective.
Just one card, because it's turn 4.
Yep. I might.
Okay, so in the movement phase, the Terminator shuffled around. The Axe guy is going after this Exorcist. This Ingvar guy is going after them. And this squad looks like they might be going after that, or they could alternatively go after the objective, which he needs. The Walker moved ever closer towards the Knight, who still only has 1 wound left. This squad advanced this way. This guy is advancing towards this objective, which needs to be claimed, and the lone wolf that was over there has moved forward, setting his sights on that Immolator. Then, for Psychic Phase, nothing happened, that was of note. And then in Shooting Phase, the first thing that happened was these 2 missile launchers fired at this Exorcist, but failed to penetrate. Then the Dreadnought here fired its Hellfrost at the rear armor and scored a penetrating hit. The shield failed to deliver, and so the Knight was exploded.
Finally.
So what's next? Lucas and the gang shot at and killed 1 Seraphim with a plasma pistol over here. And then there was a whole bunch of missing. These guys ran to secure that objective as expected. This guy ran but didn't quite get far enough to get objective 6. So now it is time for Space Wolf Assault phase.
Alright, so...
End of the assault phase. Ingvar killed most of them and caused the remaining girl to flee. And this guy only managed one glancing hit against them.
Yep. And at the end of my turn, I score Hungry for Glory, and I score Secure Objective 2.
Yeah.
Which puts me at 9.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Puts me at 8.
8.
8 to your 10.
Plus you get behind enemy lines. I do not. So 9.
Still puts me at 9 to your 10. So at this point, it's game.
Calling it?
Yep.
No worries. Well, had I drawn my objectives, I would have gotten Secure 1, 4, and Domination. So
yeah, you were well and truly ahead because of those first several turns we just drew easy objectives. Yeah. So now it's time for...
It definitely helped with the getting the Ascendancy objective with 3 of them.
Yeah. Well, now it's time for MVEs and MVPs.
No one got Slay the Warlord this time.
No, because my Warlord didn't come on until turn 3.
And my Warlord came back.
Yeah.
Good old Celestin. Alright, time for MVP versus MVE.
Yes.
Okay, it's time for MVPs and MUEs.
Yep.
So for MVP for the Space Wolf player, chosen by the Space Wolf player, he chose this squad.
The Wolf Guard that came down in turn 1 and took 4 hull points off that knight.
So they did pretty well, and then they were killed. But
I mean, they should have scored at least one more hit. They should have finished it off. They failed in that respect, but I still appreciate the fact that, you know, they actually did stuff to it, rather than everything else, which took much longer than it should have to finish it.
They did their role. Me, I gave it to this Wolf Priest guy, because he single-handedly managed to cripple 2 squads down to uselessness with only 1 psychic power.
He did kind of win me that flank.
He did.
Because he left you with only a Immolator that couldn't quite reach any.
Yeah. And then MVP for the Sister of Battle player, chosen by the Space Wolf player, was Saint Celestine. Why did you choose Saint Celestine, Justin?
Because Celestine's special rule that lets her come back denies me Slay the Warlord. If she did not have that, I would have slain the Warlord and I would have been able to probably win. And for that, she gets most valuable enemy.
Okay. Personally, I chose this thing, my Avenger Strike Fighter. It came on time and managed to get a good number of kills in all of its turns. So I was pretty happy with its performance. It actually did make a good amount of its points back.
Yeah.
So now we go on to MUEs. Okay, so this is most useless players and enemies.
Yep.
So the most useless Space Wolf player, chosen by the Space Wolf player, is this squad here. What is this squad, Justin?
This was the Terminators, what's left of them, with my Warlord, Karnak Shadowmane.
And you chose these presumably because they came on and proceeded to do nothing but get shot at.
Yep.
That is fair enough.
Well, they... Just... Oh, so much dirt.
I imagine that squad was also very pricey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. Actually, just a point of fact, most expensive unit in my entire army list.
Yeah. That makes sense why you choose that then. Me, I chose your most useless player as being this Devastator squad with twin plasma cannons and twin heavy bolters. They shot at something and did nothing and then did nothing and then...
Just died to offhand attacks that you did all win.
Yeah, then they died to offhand attacks, so that's why I gave them most useless. Then Sister of Battle most useless, chosen by you, was this Immolator here. Now why this specific Immolator, Justin?
Now this was the...
This was the one on the far flank with the Psyker.
Yeah, so this Immolator literally could not do anything, no matter how hard it tried. It couldn't flame anything, it moved in the wrong spot, it was the only thing you had on that flank, and it couldn't even deliver the Sisters far enough to actually engage me effectively. Sure, they killed a squad, but it itself was pretty useless. They could have gotten the same effect from foot soldiering.
True, they did have a turn unmolested to get there. Alright, and then I chose my most useless unit as this Immolator. This is the multi-melter Immolator that was carrying the outflanking Sisters. I chose it because it came on late, it only got 1 shot, and it failed to do anything.
Yeah, that was
Well, it had 2 shots technically, and both times it failed to do anything, so that's why I gave it to that one. Alright, that is the end of our MVPs, MUEs.
Yep. So, join us next time.
Yeah, see you next time for whatever game we decide to do then. See you.